Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. Are Manchester City in crisis after dropping more points at the weekend against Southampton? As Liverpool and Chelsea and even Manchester United open up a 3-point gap after 6 points, is this something that Man City fans need to worry about? And I would say yes and no. Manchester City have not had a particularly difficult start. The wins that they have had, Leicester away was impressive, but they've dropped points away to Spurs, where Chelsea have just been and beat them comfortably, and at home to Southampton, where I think Chelsea and Liverpool and Manchester United will beat them comfortably at home. So Man City have definitely dropped 5 points already that they wouldn't... I would expect Man City to have 15 points. They've got 10. And the interesting thing is, in their next 6 games, they have got to play Manchester United, Liverpool and Manchester, and not themselves, that would be ridiculous, and Chelsea. They're going to play Liverpool, Chelsea and United in the next 6 games, and they've dropped 5 out of 15 already. What the issue is with Manchester City, I don't know. There is an issue. There's rotation, but there's rotation at Chelsea. There's rotation at Liverpool. There's going to be rotation at Manchester United. So you can't say that it's about rotation, but I do admit that, De Bruyne is not starting every Premier League game. And there does seem to be some rotation at Manchester City. They are lacking a number 9. He wanted a Harry Kane. He didn't get it. Is there a bit of lethargy from the Premier League last year that they won? Are they more focused on the Champions League like some people say? Well, they're playing PSG next week, but something's not right with Man City at the moment. Now, it would be ridiculously foolish to say that the crisis means they're not going to win anything this season or that they're not going to be title contenders. Remember, I predicted that Manchester City would win this title, and I'm certainly not going to sit here now and say that I'm going to change that opinion. I do think Chelsea look a threat. I do think Liverpool are going to be a threat, and I hope, as a Manchester United fan, that Manchester United are going to be a threat. But let's just flip this on 2 weeks' time. Man City beat Chelsea and beat Liverpool, then suddenly they're the favourites to win the title again, and they're at least level with Chelsea and Liverpool, maybe even ahead of them. So things can change around very quickly. But it is a crisis in the sense that if they were to lose one of those games, or even both of those games, they're in massive trouble. That 3-point gap becomes a 6-point gap, could even become a 9-point gap. I've said this, if Man United beat Everton and Villa in their next 2 games and Man City lose to Liverpool and Chelsea, Man United would be 9 points clear of Man City. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but Man City are under a bit of pressure. As I said, they've dropped points in games that they shouldn't have dropped. They do look less fluid. They do look more vulnerable. Southampton took the game to them at the Etihad. Man City are a fantastic side. They're worthy Premier League champions, but something isn't quite right. It's only the start of the season. They didn't start last season well, I hear the Man City fans shout. Oh no, it was a mouse. But they didn't start last season. They didn't start last season particularly well, and it was around Christmas time where they went boom. Now that might be something that Man City feel confident about. We didn't start last year. We're going to do well this year around Christmas time. But remember, last season was very different. It played into the hands of Man City and Man City alone. It would have played into Chelsea's hands, but Chelsea had a bad start and changed their manager in January. Man City were the only team in January that had 2 teams. And it was a season where people were playing 3 times a week. There was COVID. There was all sorts of stuff going on. And Man City's squad allowed them to just power through January, February, March. This year, Chelsea have got a squad. They can do it. United have got a squad. And Liverpool have got a better squad if they can avoid an injury crisis. So I don't think it's set up for Man City to just go, we'll get to Christmas and we'll run away with it. Because I think everybody knows what the Man City model is now. Chelsea have got a massive squad. Liverpool have improved. And Man United have got a massive squad. So Man City do need to improve very, very quickly in light of their next 2 games. So I would say that they are in a crisis. It's not terminal. They can turn this around very, very quickly. They are capable of beating Chelsea. I think Chelsea-Man City on Saturday is massively exciting, as much as Liverpool versus Man City the weekend after is. They're big, big games. Man City win both, big results. Draw both, that's going to help teams move further away from them. It's a 38-game season. There's plenty of time for them to turn it around. But at the moment, I do just feel like they are a team teetering on the edge. And therefore, that's a bit of a crisis for the Premier League champions. As a United fan, I've seen us start seasons badly and you just go through the gears and your class comes through. But they've put themselves in a position where they are in a crisis. I don't care what anybody says. And it's, crises can be averted. You can, it's an iceberg and you go around it, or you can smack straight into it. The point is, those first 6 games of the season, I looked at them and thought Man City I'll be very surprised if they haven't got at least 12 points. They've got 10. They've dropped 5 points from 15 from 15. They've got Manchester City, they've got Chelsea, and they've got Liverpool to come. All eyes on that. Looking at everybody else, I think, I am surprised that Man City aren't actually up there with Man United, Chelsea, and Liverpool, because the most predictable top four we've ever seen. And when I say crisis, don't get excited if you're an Arsenal fan. They're not dropping down to that level. Top four was sorted the minute the season kicked off, before the season kicked off. There is no way that Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool and Man United are not going to be the top four clubs. It's the most obvious top four we've probably ever had. It's the most exciting because I can't tell you who's definitely going to win the league. I can't tell you who's going to come fourth, but they are definitely going to be the top four, and Man City will be in that top four. The other three clubs, Chelsea, Liverpool and my club, United, they've got 13 points. They've only dropped 2 points amongst them. And of course, the interesting thing with Chelsea and Liverpool and the advantage they've got is not the goal difference. The only reason Chelsea and Liverpool don't have maximum points is they played each other and drew with each other. Remember, United don't have maximum points because they drew with Southampton. So, look, it's advantage Chelsea and Liverpool at the moment. And I think if you're a Man City fan, the two teams you're worried about, the two teams you're about to play next, which is a big opportunity to sort of right the wrongs of the start to your season. But as a United fan, look, I'm not going to get carried away. I think we're more than capable of dropping points. We already have done, but we are a team that's got some fantastic players in it. We've just got to take every game as it comes and try and win every game as it comes and stay in this race as long as we can do. Man United's task this year is to be in a title race come April. Being in a title race, well, we were top of the league in January last year, and no one thought we could win the league. So, not going to get too excited at the moment, but consistency is key. Chelsea look fantastic. Liverpool look fantastic. They look like two teams, like I said last weekend, that are going to be relentless in point accumulation. Chelsea, Liverpool, they look on it. Liverpool have done this before. Last season was a bit of a write-off for Liverpool. They've done it before. Chelsea, I just think Tuchel, as I said in the match reaction yesterday, is a fantastic coach, and they've just got a lot going for them. But I do think that Man City game's going to be a test. It's a real test of their credentials. You could see Man City rolling into Stamford Bridge and beating them. And Chelsea can't let that happen. They cannot let that happen because there is a momentum around Chelsea at the moment. And if they let Man City come to Stamford Bridge and beat them, it will burst that bubble and they will start to feel a little bit inferior to City and hand the momentum back. They've got 3 points on them. You could say technically they could afford to lose because they still have the same points. They've got to at least get a point. And I think they're more than capable of doing that. And I think we're in for a very, very exciting title race. And I hope that these teams do mirror each other's results as long as possible. Because I want it to stay close. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd love Man City to fall away. I don't mind if Chelsea and Liverpool stop Man City winning and United win the next two and we start to build a gap on City because they are the danger. But we'll have to just wait and see. And of course, at the other end of the table, not quite the other end of the table, Arsenal, their season started like I said it would on September the 11th. 2 wins, 6 points. At that point, Arsenal had 0 points on the morning of September the 11th and Spurs had 9. If Arsenal beat Spurs next week in the North London Derby, they'll have 9 points like Spurs. So, big game on Sunday as well. Anyway, make sure you smash a like on the video, please. Subscribe bottom right-hand corner and get your comments in below. Do you think it's too early to say that City are in a crisis? Or are you looking at it and going, you know what? They are in a bit of a crisis. Those games coming up against Chelsea and Liverpool are huge. And I would say that, the latter. Something's not quite right with City at the moment. And yes, it's a long season ahead, but I think some of these teams like Chelsea and Liverpool and hopefully United, we're not here to drop points and mess about. And you could end up with a gap. Let's wait and see what happens. Speak to you all soon.